everybody. I'm Stacey J.
And I'm Chuck Duran.
Welcome to VO Buzz Weekly, the global web show all about the voiceover business.
That's right. And today we are all about part 2 with Ginny McSwain.
She's so awesome.
Let's go there now. True or false?
I love that. Fiction or fact?
True or false? You were the voice of Lois Lane in the Superman TV series in the late 80s.
Yes.
Wow.
Ding, ding,
How
ding.
cool is
And
that?
I loved every second of it.
No, I can't believe that you
I was a great
haven't
Lois
mentioned
Lane.
that yet. What's up with that? Was
They
that
didn't
like
call
amazing?
me when Warner Brothers started up again. No.
Hello.
And I am the Lois Lane.
Yeah, exactly. There
I
she
am
is.
Lois Lane.
Nobody else can touch me.
No, I did it.
That is so cool.
Want to hear this?
Yes.
Okay, so I started freelancing. I should point a couple things out because I stayed at Hanna-Barbera 4 years in production and 4 years as the casting queen with Gordon Hunt. Let's call it the recording days, 4 years, right? Then Andy Hayward, who was it's all 6 degrees of separation. His father worked at Hanna-Barbera in the limited live action thing that they had going for many years.
Yeah.
And so when he left, he started a company called DIC, D-I-C. And he wooed me away from Hanna-Barbera, which he gave me my first opportunity, and I was the first female freelance voice recording director for animation and casting director.
Awesome.
Wow.
So that's my own little thing, because it was true. And so I went to work for Andy at DIC for a while, and then I left there, and that's kind of when my freelancing began, my independent contractor status. I was an agent for 5 minutes, and then so then I worked for Ruby Spears. And that was the sister company of Hanna-Barbera.
Yes.
Right.
Because they had worked at Joe Ruby and Ken Spears had worked at Hanna-Barbera. So now they're off with Ruby Spears doing Scooby-Doo and doing some other stuff. And they called me in. This little girl who was my best friend called me in, and she said, we're going to be doing this series, 13 episodes for Superman. And I was like, I loved the superheroes.
Yeah.
I loved them. I loved them. They were so exciting, Spider-Man and Superman and Batman. So I was like, oh, yeah, that's cool. She goes, but not so fast. We're going to interview, not only do we want you, of course, to cast it, but we're going to have the directors audition to direct. I'm like, what? So they picked 5 of us, voiceover directors.
Yeah.
One was a writer, I think, 2 out of the mix. And one was an actor, and then 3 voice directors. And our day of our audition was, we each had 5 entities, had to have a day of casting for Superman. And I think there were like maybe 5 to 7 main characters that we had to do in a day. So like from, 10 to 5 or something like that, if that.
Yeah.
And so, but the thing is, you couldn't duplicate. So if I wanted Michael Bell, or if I wanted so-and-so, if I wanted so-and-so, and they were already taken, I had to go to, that isn't hard, as you all know.
Yeah,
we're
of
in
course.
the capital
Yeah,
of
there's
voiceover.
more than a couple
right?
people, yeah.
So layers.
You could throw a rock and hit
So I'm
somebody.
going, don't forget the movie had just come out. And of course everybody's on to the, sound alike in
Right.
the movie, right? So I knew this girl that sounded just like Margot Kidder. Just like her. And I'm thinking, oh God, and she wasn't so high profile that, so I thought, this is ace in the hole. And this one, I got Michael, I wanted certain people, like I wanted Michael Bell for Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
For Superman, quite frankly, I can't remember my Superman. And I have this very dear friend you'd recognize his face on episodic television, Mark Taylor, who I went to college with, so I thought he's
You had your dream team in place.
he was the little newspaper guy, Jimmy Olsen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so I was so ace. And there was like one a girlfriend of Lex Luthor, kind of the Valerie Perrine, I guess, but we played it a whole different way. And so I'm like, I did my job.
Yeah.
Michael Bell, who was the actor that wanted to audition, calls me up and he goes, I want you to read on my day for Lois Lane. And I didn't really, I was never the person who put myself in my own shows, or I didn't do that. I should have, but I didn't, because for SAG and chance.
You should
I
have.
should have. Hi, I'm guard number 4.
Yeah.
But I never did it. I couldn't do it. And so, I was still a SAG member. So anyway, I said, okay, okay, I'll do it. But then when I got there, I was like, talk about putting your money where your mouth is. I was like, I'm going to read for Lois Lane. But the copy was very simple. I still give it out in my classes.
You were nervous about it?
Yeah, of course. Because then, when you hear yourself back about what you... Now I preach, always know what you sound like.
Yeah, exactly.
Playback.
Yeah.
You go home and get on your own home studios and know what you sound like. I didn't have a clue. My voice was much higher, I think, than I thought it was. Yeah. And, of course, I thought, and I'm looking at Lois Lane, and I'm thinking, it's Margot Kidder. It's that textury, great voice.
Yeah.
And... So Michael, God bless him, he believed in me, and he said, come over. And so I did, and, I thought, the only thing I can do with this is just be Ginny McSwain is Lois Lane. So I took my little Chicago,
that is cool.
nasal voice in there and read the copy. It was real limited, 2 paragraphs, one talking to Jimmy Olsen about, Superman, what are you talking about? And the other one was to Perry, the editor, and pleading your case on a scoop you wanted.
Yeah.
So, anyway, so 5 of us, I go, boy, if I lose this, I'm losing big. I'm going out big.
Yeah.
Directing and,
Yeah.
So I really, of course, wanted the directing. The acting thing I did for a lark. And so the little coordinator calls me and says, all right, here's what happened. Here are the results.
The results
are in.
The director is Ginny McSwain, and she read the cast, and Lois Lane is Ginny McSwain. And I was like,
You're like, wait
that
a minute.
might have been
I'm
the
Ginny
last time
McSwain.
I was happy. I mean, I'm seriously. I mean, that was
That's like winning a double Grammy.
It was so. If you had known how genuinely surprised I was, because I wanted my girl. But the good news was, I got most of my cast was picked from me, or rather, the cast was mostly my auditionees, but. I was so tickled, of course, then on the street, Ginny cast herself in that role. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you don't even know.
No, I didn't.
You don't know the real story. I auditioned.
Yeah.
But I'll never forget that. That was really a special moment for
That
me.
is really cool.
And I really enjoyed directing the show. But it was hard doing both.
But we
Did you ask me that? It was hard
we
doing
talk about this all the time, that when you don't, and I don't mean this in a flippant way, but when you don't care, when you don't go in there and go, I have to get this, I have to be perfect, when you just do it.
Yeah.
It's just such a better place to be in.
Well, first
than
of all,
be
to have a part
making yourself
that you know
crazy.
you can't lose on. It's one. That's why I say know your natural voice, because she could be my age at the time. She could. If Michael was asking me to audition, there was something in my voice that he liked, even with its quirks.
Sure.
And so I wasn't the pretty voice. I wasn't the neat sandy voice. I had a total freedom because Lois Lane. Now that he wasn't going to go. Obviously I wasn't in the movie. Because I remember that movie being sticking in my brain, going, it's got to be Margot Kidder, that sound. And I had a girl right on. She was good too. So you just have to be comfortable with acting in your own voice, and that's to me in the 21st century is the beast.
Yeah.
Know what you sound like and be real comfortable, because it could be the character could be your own voice.
Could be you, yeah. That's very cool.
But that was a neat time. Thank you for asking that.
You're very welcome.
That's very cool.
We're going to ask you more things that you want us to ask you too.
So pretty much most people that have sat in that guest chair, your name comes up somehow, in some way. Everyone sings your praises, everywhere. What do you think makes you so great at what you do?
Great is a heavy word. If
So
if they're
effective.
enjoying me, I'm going to start crying. If they're enjoying me, it's because I enjoy them. I appreciate people that can really act. I worship it. I grew up in an acting family, community theater. My parents started the community theater in my hometown in Chicago, and they come in and they're so vulnerable and they're so bright, and the ones that take the time not just to grandstand for the other side of the glasses' sake, but the ones that really come in and want to get to know you a little bit too. That's if I have any relationships after all these years, it's because I could connect with some people that really got me too, and then I love them up. Then I'm an actor's director.
Yes.
If you show me what you got, I want to like the people that come in.
Yeah.
I think that's my Achilles heel and maybe my vulnerable point is I want to really like them. And that's not always a great thing sometimes because, sometimes you have to work with the ones that I can't wait till the session's over.
Yeah.
And, but that's, you guys, I'm kidding on the square, but I'm kidding because I can't tell you that there's been a lot of those experiences in my long career. And I'm so happy I can really say that.
Exactly.
But, when I think of some of the people you've just talked about. I mean, they're such great people. I love the ones I love, and
Well, they love you back.
that
There's no
just
question.
it's
They
just
do.
we go back. Some of us go back a while.
Yeah.
And when you still feel the same way after all these years, and when I see them, because I don't see a lot of our great strings of people anymore because of the celebrity thing. When you see them, it's like, oh, it's like they water in the oasis. It's like,
Yeah.
whoa,
Yeah.
You know, I'm so happy to see them, and they're just so great.
That's so cool. I know that you're totally passionate about what you do. I mean, it just shows. You just proved it to us. What keeps you motivated to go forward?
That's a good question. That's a very good question. The material.
The material.
Yeah, and you know what? If I were Steve Jobs' wife, which I'm not, I think I'd maybe not be recording anymore. But because I'm working in this business, I still have to. I still want to work and have to work to pay my bills. But I've become very selective about what I want to work on. And when I see the material and when I hear what it's about, and even everything's a pilot now, right?
Yes.
But I really love the material that's kind of the sitcom-y that I just talked about, based family unit kind of thing.
Right,
I like
right.
the dysfunctional family. I like anything dysfunctional. I also like the saltier things.
Right.
And I've done some fun things, and because the old salty broad in me comes out. But I think that's the material and what I deem funny, what I think is got a good formula for anything. Well, it could be a kiddie show, it could be to Adult Swim,
Right.
But it's got to have some appeal to me. I don't think I'm great about talking about really high tech things.
Yeah.
That's futuristic. That's probably not my thing. It's amazing I've done these interactive games.
Right.
But like I love the interactive games.
But they're so story driven.
But they're story driven. But I treat them like acting scenes. As long as if I concentrate on what the actor's goal is.
Right.
But the minute we have to resort to some futuristic
Yeah.
equipment or something like that, or I'm in the toilet.
So you're not at home playing all these games on PS3. And
I don't think I'll be going.
Connect
I don't think
and-
I'll be going home and doing that tonight.
Okay.
But I treat them like a cinematic
Right.
show, a film. I
Yeah.
just want them to be the best acting for whatever if they're selling this table, I want that to be.
Yeah.
I want it to be the best it can be. In all according to me.
Sure.
It's all relative. The best.
Yeah.
I'm talking about this and that like I'm the only opinion.
Yeah.
But I think my standards are high to what I expect, and but I have to tell you, the people sitting over my shoulder, their expectations are higher than mine sometimes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Often. And I'll be like, that's good. And they're like, no.
Let's do another one.
And I've learned, but I've also learned from that as well. I've learned, an age can be when you're sitting with somebody who's 26, who's running the show, and when you're sitting with somebody, it's all I can do to find a peer group person anymore of my age. But it doesn't really matter as long as they're smart and they can talk the language to you.
Yeah.
Communicate to you, and then I can communicate to the talent.
Was there any advice you got early on in your career that you think really set the tone and helped you get to where you are?
Advice. I don't know if I got advice as much as I had special people that were the bright light that you wanted to strive to
Be like.
I don't want to be somebody else as much as I want to strive to their energy and to their bright light. And there were several. Even when I was in the art department, the people that could glow around you and be positive. The old theory of glass half full, glass half
Sure.
empty,
Yeah.
right? I'm the half empty girl. And I don't think I'm Debbie Downer, but I call it realistic rather than pessimistic. And I tend to just be very, going straight for, oh my God, there's a problem. Is it, was there a pop? I'm like, I'm nervous,
Yeah.
I'm intense.
Yeah.
And, but my bright lights seem to be able to do all the things I'm worrying about effortlessly. So advice, no, I wish I could give you some great adage, but I've worked with people that I've really, really admired. And that's when it makes it all worthwhile.
I think admiring is almost better than advice because,
Yeah.
watching
watching people from
somebody-
example,
And I
I think is more
appreciate-
powerful.
This little job here is
Yeah.
only a little part of it. And I talk like it's the big show here, but when you are crazy for the writers, producer,
Yep.
yet alone a whole team of them, the assistants, everybody. Oh my God, when that comes together, and it rarely does to the extent that I just described it. I mean, there can be good parts. I really care about getting along with the people I have to sit next to. That's my my goal.
No, you're clearly a collaborator.
You know, I don't want to go. I'm not running for mayor, but when you have a team of people that all know how you think and will defer to something, you know, Ginny, you're not happy with that read? You know. And I also like it when they say, we got it, that sounded great. You know, then I'll get off of it.
Yeah.
But I think admire is the thing. And believe me, in all these years,
that's cool.
There have been many.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
in
I
all
believe that.
I love it. No, I love when you get to learn from people's example.
Yeah. And you are a multi-dimensional woman, as I can tell, and we all can. But how would you describe the essence of Ginny in 3 words?
Loyal.
Loyal.
Fierce.
Fierce.
Know me. I'm going to change one. Know me at your own risk. You know?
Okay.
Know me at your risk.
Dangerous.
Just maybe not for everybody, but I think I would rather have loyalty, friendship, and fierceness.
That's good.
Have people know me that way than any way at all.
That matches.
And talented would be nice too, but that's all relative. If people can appreciate what I've given them out, or the energy that I've given out, just to get something great on behalf of all of us, that would be my goal.
Good.
Then it's well done.
I'm going to say for you that you have accomplished that.
Yes.
So good for you.
Well, thanks.
You're
I
welcome.
hope so. I mean,
Absolutely.
you're only as good as your last day.
Yeah, right?
You know, and I always kind of go in with a fresh attitude. Sometimes I have to turn it around in the car going,
Glass is full, Ginny. Glass is full.
no half empty today.
Yeah, no. It's like...
As I went to the wrong studio today.
Yeah.
On the way, I started out kind of foul today, but it all came around. And I had this to look forward to.
Beautiful.
Yay.
See?
What's the deal with the name Ginny Scorchy McSwain?
I love those boys so much.
Yeah, what's up with that?
What's that
This
about?
was one of my hits list of on the Ginny McSwain greatest shows ever done with the greatest people ever done, and it was a show for ABC Saturday morning called Bumpin' the Night. And so these guys were up in Northern California, and they had this company called Danger Productions. And she said, yeah, they're really funny, maybe a little odd, but it's a really funny show. It was stop motion, for one of the first stop motion. If you want to even find it on YouTube. And there were 3 main characters. That was the crux of the show. And then maybe a couple tiny ones around it.
Yeah.
But I love that idea. It was 3 character-driven comedy, broad comedy. And it was Bump in the Night, things that go bump in the night. So there was Mr. Bumpy, who was this this rock and roll creature that lived, you know, as every child's nightmare, living under the bed.
Okay.
And then there was Squishington, who was any child that's toilet training, that is in the toilet. Of their fear, the monster in the toilet, and then the third was a rag doll face, and like a Raggedy Ann.
Yeah.
And you know, she was being, you know, kind of pushed aside in the child's nursery because the Barbie dolls were taking over.
Right.
So they only went to her if if they had a boo boo on their knee or something like that. So that was the development of these 3 characters. So these guys come down, Ken Pontac and David Blyman, and we were doing these auditions, and these guys, I mean, this is an ultimate compliment, were so out there. They were so sick and dark and demented, and just my kind of, all the shows I would make would be like this.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to do like the Walking Dead cartoon show.
It was your mothership.
Oh, they were just, our sensibilities.
Yeah.
It was like marriage.
Love it.
And we did 3 seasons of it, and 2 of which were aired. We just agreed on everything, and they would come down every Friday from Northern California. They'd come into Burbank, and we'd go right down the street in Studio City and record. They'd go to the comic book store and buy. They were nerds.
Yeah, total nerds.
But they ran this company.
Yeah.
And they would come down and we'd buy like $100 worth of comic books, and then we'd record, and then we'd have drinks. That was our regimen every Friday. So the cast they pick, and the interesting format was, it was like 2 7-minutes, a 3-minute, and a song, a karaoke song. These characters would go to karaoke.
Yeah.
And so it was interesting for the casting, not only with very broad sensibilities, although Dollface, the Raggedy Ann character, that was the one that wasn't really it was never really fleshed out. She didn't really have the dynamic. These other two just
Kind of bulldozed her,
mopped up this show with her. And but there was a song for every episode. And so these actors would do everything in their character voices, which were broad, literally like, "Wah, Mr. Bumpy," and "Isn't that this chic, Mr. Jowls" kind of voice. They had to sing in their character voices, from opera to reggae to hip hop. I mean, to everything.
That's crazy.
And it was really, of course, get our cast: Jim Cummings, Mr. Bumpy, and Rob Paulson, Mr. Squishy, and Gail Mathias was cute. Molly, I think, ended up being her name, but that was just a
That's
joyful.
really good that you remember all this stuff, man.
Listen,
I would be like,
doing pretty good so far. So
see you
good.
later.
But I mean,
So then, where did
experience.
Scorchy come from?
Okay.
Did they name you Scorchy?
Yeah, because the boys, we always, everything was irreverent. But going back to, I think Connie Stevens had made a movie called Scorchy, and we all thought that was pretty funny. See, because we're really hip and happening, right? So putting Scorchy, and I think it was Scorchy the Dancing Queen.
Nice.
And that they put it in the end titles, the credits. Yeah,
I love it.
That's
where
pretty
that
funny.
came from.
Are there any other current projects you'd want to talk about? Or
Just Randy and Gravity Falls are the two newest ones. And I have to say, on Gravity, I have a new title for myself, and it's called Voice Whisperer.
Voice whisperer.
I like that.
And
like that.
it's when you are really you sometimes don't know why you're there, because I think the creator would really like to direct, but I've been pulled in to help out where I can, and if there was a certain actor that needed special polish or whatever, that's what I do on Gravity. But it's been a privilege to be a part of that, and they very nicely gave me voiceover credit or director credit, but I think the creator did a really good job. He was very savvy with when he talked to the actors, and that makes me happy. As long as the actors are being treated well, that's all I care about. And he's got a hit show on his hands.
Yeah.
And Randy Cunningham, two really smart guys, the creators, and they could do it too. Listen, we're all replaceable. If you go in thinking this is what I do, and oh my God, I'm a voice director.
Yeah.
I'm way too humble. Believe it or not, I'm sure people will be surprised I'm going to say this. I'm way too humble to ever think that.
Yeah.
I never walk away from a show thinking, oh God, I'm good.
Yeah.
Wow, that was no. It's always, oh my God, it's very hard for me to listen back to what I've done because I'm very critical. But I always hope that I'm upping the game for the next time.
Yeah.
That's what's nice about having multiple episodes.
Exactly.
26 half hours, or
Yeah.
when I worked at Disney TV, I went from 65 to 65 to 65 episode shows. I went from
Well, now it's
Tailspin.
like you just don't know. It could be you could get 2 episodes. and,
exactly
you know,
right,
there's
or
no
a pilot
guarantees.
that didn't go.
What do you still want to accomplish in your life?
That's a hard one. What do I want to accomplish? I think just sanity in this business that changes around us all the time.
Yeah.
And keeping clear on the values I gave you prior, that I keep loyal, that I keep all the things that I like about myself intact when you don't feel like it.
Right.
And when things are changing where you think you can't. I think I'm going to say, if I can do anything, I hope I spread my wings a few more years. Because if we give up and say, well, this is the way, like we said, go back to the old mold, it'll never be that way again, and technology has changed things forever. We have to keep up and have an attitude to keep up with. And if I can just spread my wings
That's
on,
very
on
nice.
my projects, that's all I'm asking.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure having you on VO
Bored?
Buzz Weekly.
Bored?
Hell no!
No.
This
Thank
is
you so
great,
much.
man.
You guys are great to sit with, and anybody who is watching this, just know that these people are the real deal. And it's really nice to talk with them and ask them, and have them ask me questions that I can actually enjoy. Thank
Well,
you.
absolutely,
Thank you,
and thank
you for giving
I know
us so
that-
much incredible work.
Absolutely.
I hope it comes off okay.
You know what? It's going to be great. And the bottom line is that when people sit down, and I love learning from people by getting inside their head. How do they think? How do they function? What makes them tick? What makes them not tick? And if the people that are out there that are sitting down and they're actually watching and learning from who you are, what you do, all the stuff that you said in the beginning of, the persistence and those weren't accidents. I mean, people gave you opportunity because they knew that you can get it done. Otherwise, they wouldn't.
Or they chose to have hope in me, with me.
And maybe that too.
And I think that when you know, it's like I'm saying to the actors, they can never stop pursuing this craft that they enjoy, no matter what segment it is.
Right.
If it's just one area of their range, whatever. But you can't give up. You have to keep going with what you love and what you enjoy. Attitude is a must. Attitude is a must. I have to check mine hourly. And it's
I think there's an app for that.
Is it?
There's an app for that.
Pick it up, Ginny. Pick up. It's
But just
spreading my wings.
Yeah,
But
Ginny
just
doesn't
like
even have a
you-
phone yet. She's still not on phone yet.
Oh my God! I mean, seriously, I didn't have a computer till like 6 years ago. And like a friend of mine said, Ginny doesn't have a computer because she's wondering, she doesn't think they're going to catch on.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but it's
No, but
you
just-
still think it's a fly-by-night idea.
But just like for those people in the art department at Hanna-Barbera that you looked at and they gave you something, we absolutely know that you're doing that for people out there. So.
Absolutely.
Well, I hope.
So, thank you.
I hope it's,
Wonderful.
it's my goal. It's
Thank
my,
you for being so cool, yo. Put it there.
Oh my God, I'm bumping.
Bam! You know it.
I did it kind of like a white
You
girl.
are cool. Hey, even if you're not into technology, man, you're into people,
I'm more
and
into
that's
this.
cool. Whoa! She's going crazy now. The danger's coming out. Danger, danger.
Oh my God, I'm with a big rock star.
Well, that concludes episode 2 with Ginny McSwain, and be sure and tune in next week for another awesome episode of VO Buzz Weekly.
That's right, and send us your questions and comments, plus find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest at VO Buzz Weekly. You guys take care until next week, and just remember, you always have time for a little buzz.